Right, you lot, let's talk England. And we've played our first game in Euro 2024. The first round of fixtures is coming to an end with two games tonight, including Portugal versus Czech Republic, which is going to be probably a pretty spicy game. But we're going to be looking at England's result against Serbia. We did run out 1-0 victors, and we're going to be looking ahead to our game against Denmark in, well, it'll be 2 days' time as I'm recording this, but as you're seeing this, it's tomorrow. So first things first, let's get into England's game against Serbia and what I thought about that. So as you can see on the screen, we did win 1-0 thanks to a Jude Bellingham goal in the 13th minute. The man has the world on his shoulders in terms of pressure in this tournament, and boy did he deliver. He was easily my man of the match for this game. It's like watching a semi-professional footballer at six-a-side is the best way I can describe it, in terms of he just looks so much better than everyone else on the pitch. But there were some positives and some negatives to take from this game. Like I say, we won 1-0. We look at the momentum in the game. We were all over them. Jude Bellingham gets the goal in the 13th minute, and then it does start swinging quite considerably in Serbia's favour. They had 47% of the possession as opposed to our 53%. We only managed an XG of 0.52, which is really worrying given the quality of attacking players that we do have. They actually had more shots than us, but we had more big chances, the two being Jude Bellingham's goal and Harry Kane hitting the crossbar in the second half, which is probably around when that momentum change does happen. Again, you can see here the substitutions made. Conor Gallagher, Jarrod Bowen and Kobbie Mainoo were the three that were chosen to be thrown on. We look at the lineups here, and Serbia lined up 3-4-2-1. They were actually quite attacking, and I thought there was quite a lot of room and space to manoeuvre in this game, and Foden and Saka, I'm not sure they exploited it to the fullest of their ability, shall we say. I'm very surprised that Kane's got a 7 rating here. Jude Bellingham, obviously my man of the match. There is no doubt about that. We lined up in a 4-2-3-1 as opposed to this typical 4-3-3 that Southgate likes to go for. And a couple of things that stood out to me about the Serbia team. First of all, Pavlovic got rinsed by Saka in the first half an hour, and then he turned it around and was absolutely brilliant for the rest of the game. I thought Milenkovic was very, very good in dealing with Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane had something like 5 touches this whole game. But the main thing to point out for me is Jude Bellingham is one of the best players in world football. Mark Gahey, I thought, was absolutely brilliant at centre-back. I'm not keen on Alexander-Arnold as a centre-mid, and I'll get into what I would change for our next game against Denmark shortly. I thought Saka, I think it's very obvious to me that Saka and Kane are both carrying slight injuries, and I don't know why we're risking them in these group games. If we should be able to breeze through this group. If they are carrying these slight injuries, they need to be rested and they need to be almost protected, because we're going to need them in the big games. Harry Kane allegedly with a back injury, and Saka just ran out of steam about 35 to 40 minutes into this game, and that's when Pavlovic was just having all the fun in the world against him. And the other thing that stood out to me, yes, Foden got the 7.4 there. He isn't as effective as a left winger, but I just think that Jude Bellingham's simply better. So I think you have to accommodate that to an extent, and I think Serbia made it very hard, and the fact that he was playing with Trippier behind him, I don't think is a left back, and I don't think had a fantastic game at left back, probably did not help. In terms of the subs, Conor Gallagher, I thought he looked fine. Jarrod Bowen, fine. Kobbie Mainoo, fine. Now we have to look forward. That game's done. Review of that game, it wasn't fantastic. I thought we looked very, very boring after about 20 minutes. We went into a shell. We hardly created anything. We had to wait for a little bit of Jarrod Bowen magic and just a speculative header in the box. We couldn't really create anything on the ground, which is very, very worrying for me, for an England team. But it's in the past. We got the win. We got the 3 points. We didn't look fantastic. Fine, whatever. A lot of other teams did. What would I do differently for Denmark? I'll get you into my starting lineup. BBC lineup predictor. They haven't actually changed it since the first one for the opener, so we're just going to go for that. It's fine, it is what it is. We're going to change to 4-2-3-1. It looks like that's what Gareth wants to do, and this is how I would line up for Denmark. In goal, fantastic in the first game, calm, composed. You do feel a bit of calm with him in goal, so it's Jordan Pickford again. Right back for me doesn't change, it's Kyle Walker. Centre backs don't change. John Stones and Gahey done an absolutely fine job. I was worried that John Stones wouldn't be fit, but he is, so he starts for me. Left back, I'm going to go Joe Gomez or Luke Shaw again. I haven't heard any fitness updates about Luke Shaw, but I know Joe Gomez is fit, so he starts for me. I can't bear another game of Trippier at left back. It really panics me whenever he's, one, on the ball because he's so right footed, and two, whenever they're running against him. I just feel like he always has a mistake in him at left back. The first defensive midfielder isn't going to change. It's clearly Declan Rice. Was asked to play a lot more of a number 6 role for England, which I'm not mad at. He's done it plenty in his career and he's a good enough player to perform that role very, very well. What I am going to change is Trent in midfield. Now, this is a hard one for me in terms of who I would start. You know, Conor Gallagher, I did start in the last one. I think he is, you know, very much on the radar of Gareth Southgate, but Denmark are going to have a lot more of the possession than Serbia did, I believe. Denmark are a lot better of a team. They're a lot more fluid. And for that reason, I would start Adam Wharton. Hear me out. He is a much, much better defensively minded midfielder than the likes of Kobbie Mainoo, Conor Gallagher, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, who actually was playing a bit more further forward. I feel like you just take away Trent's best attributes by putting him in midfield. He's good at like spraying diagonal balls, picking passes from the wing, not from the middle of the park. That is just me. Jude Bellingham, for me, plays 60 to 70 minutes. Hopefully we have a lead by that point, and then he gets taken off for this game. And I don't think he starts the last game of the group if we've qualified, because we really need to rest him. He did start looking a bit leggy towards the end of the game, but he's England's best player, so obviously he starts this game. Saka, again, might be carrying a bit of an injury. I'm not 100% sure on that one, how that is going to go. But if he is fit, I think he has to start. He was brilliant in the first half an hour of that game. And although he didn't set the world alight, I would pick Phil Foden over an Anthony Gordon, purely because I feel like he's one of the best players in world football. And then, again, Harry Kane gets the nod up front. I would like to see a bit more rotation a bit earlier in this game. That is one thing I would like to see. I would like to see maybe Saka for an Eze or a Bowen, again, just slightly earlier. Foden for an Anthony Gordon. I feel like you can't be afraid to take Foden off if he's not having an impact in the game. Anthony Gordon is an exemplary left wing option and he could come on. Bellingham could easily come off for the likes of, again, an Eze. A Conor Gallagher can play in that 10 role, or you could even move Foden across and take Bellingham off to protect his legs. And if Harry Kane isn't having an impact, Gareth, you literally have a striker on the bench who got 19 goals and 12 assists. Ollie Watkins, your man. That's what I would do for England's second game. There have been some very, very impressive performances from a certain few teams that really panic me that England are just not going to go very far in this tournament. I thought Italy looked very, very good after they went down early to Albania. Spain looks so good. So did Germany. Romania looked really, really good as well, actually, surprisingly. I thought the Netherlands done well in their opening game of the tournament. There's a lot of nations who I just think are looking a lot better than us, and we need to put down a statement, a marker in this second game against Denmark. I'll always back the boys. I think we're going to beat Denmark 2-0. What do you think? Come on, the Three Lions, up England. Go and do better.